Hey guys, it's Damien from Marketing Food Online. In tonight's podcast, I'm going to get into the condiment business. Those fantastic sides of salsas, ketchups, sriracha, and mayonnaise that we put on pretty much everything. And why you may think about getting at least a portion of your food business up and running by having a private label of one of these products. Okay, all right, guys. So let's hop right into it. So I'm super excited about this podcast because it's kind of actually quite interesting. I haven't dug too much into this topic. I had a couple subscribers ask about some private label companies that put hot sauces together, and I knew of a couple, but I went ahead and looked a little bit more into the condiment sales, specifically in the U.S., and I was quite blown away. As one of the most popular segments of the food business, everything from ketchups, like I mentioned a little while ago, mustard, salsas, and mayonnaise, it's just a mind-boggling the amount of this that is actually sold in just the U.S. alone. In 2016, mayonnaise, which has actually topped the list for quite a few years, mayonnaise had a sales in excess of $2 billion for mayonnaise. Now, that covers every segment of, from food service to those little tiny packets you get, at a hamburger place and the stuff that's sold in retail stores. I mean, there's a lot of different packaging that goes on, and it's offered in a lot of different sizes. But I did not realize it was in excess of $2 billion in just mayonnaise alone. And combined in 2016 was over $24 billion. That's ketchup, mustard, hot sauces, soy sauce, you name it. Any sauce or dipping sauce or spread that you can put on a sandwich is what's put into that category. And it's mind-boggling. So the idea for you not to get into this segment of the food market might be crazy, because I dug a little bit into finding out about private labeling, because I don't produce. I obviously have no interest in producing it myself. We have so many products already as it is. But finding out about a company who can make it for me and then putting it into Amazon FBA. Now, I talk a lot about Amazon FBA, and I did a recent video on YouTube where I explained the reason why it's such a popular aspect, such a popular route to take when you want to sell a product online instead of opening your own store is by utilizing and leveraging Amazon FBA. And to think about it, hot sauces are one that makes it's like a no-brainer. It makes total sense because it's a very small packaged product, very lightweight, so the fees are very small in comparison to others, of course. And then having a company private label it for you, you literally wouldn't have to do anything but make sure that the shipments are sent to Amazon correctly and labeled and the listings correct, and then you just maintain the inventory. So it's a really interesting concept, something that is not talked about a lot, of course, on YouTube. There's a lot of private labels for electronics and all these other gadgets and things, and it's such a saturated market. There's so many sellers who are selling durable goods, laptops and office supplies, and these things, of course, are things that you don't eat. But in the gourmet food category, it's not a lot. There's not a lot of videos about it, and it kind of blows me away. So it's one of the great things about Marketing Food Online YouTube channel here is that I actually personally I have experience using FBA with my food products, and to be honest with you, it's almost limitless. The potential that it holds for food businesses to get their product into customers' hands, it's staggering if you really thought about the different opportunities that it presents to you. So, focusing back on what we were talking about, the condiments, the thing with this is that the millennial generation is actually driving these condiments in a lot of different directions as far as flavor profiles. The old traditional mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup type of flavor profiles are always going to be classic flavors and all. But over the past about 5 or 6 years, if you've noticed when you've gone to your grocery store or any store for that matter that sells food, there's a lot of spins on it. There's a lot of variation. The flavor profiles are just amazing, and it's almost limitless. I went to the store a few days ago, and I saw that ketchup, Heinz came out with like 6 varieties. They have one that's even a low sugar. They have one that has sriracha in it. It has this really hot, spicy, peppery flavor to it mixed into the ketchup. They even have one that's a cracked pepper one that has a lot of really coarse cracked pepper. It's really spicy from the pepper profile. And it just goes on and on and on. So it kind of makes you wonder, where can I get a company to make it for me? And coming up with these really unique flavor profiles, like your own unique spin on it, is what is going to drive sales of that product. So I'm going to, down below, in the description down below, I'm going to add a link that's got a great resource. It's on our website. And it's a collection of quite a few, probably about a dozen or so private labeled hot sauce or sauce companies that produce all kinds of salsas and such. Take a look at that and see if that is something that you might be interested in, and download one of those for yourself. These are private label companies that offer the ability to put your name on. Basically, a lot of them have pre-existing recipes. So like I was mentioning, a lot of these companies have pre-existing recipes. So even if you didn't have a recipe, right, and you're looking to at least get a portion of your business and start getting some cash flow from a product, a food product, these are just like I said, a no-brainer. You can come to the table in a sense without having an idea of how it looks. There's actually several of these companies I actually went to personally and contacted that literally also have the label. Everything about it is already pre-made except for whatever your name of your business you want to put on it. From the graphics and the text and the font style, all this stuff is pre-done. They make it, they sell it by the case pack, and then you either direct them as to where you want it to go, or you can ship it out to Amazon, or even begin to ship it to a food distributor. So it comes down to this. If you are looking for a food product, and maybe you're new to the food business, or you've already got an existing business and you're looking to just simply expand what you're doing, but you want something that's more private label, something that's more you, something that's more your company, these types of products will sell like crazy. And the different avenues, when I say Amazon is just one avenue, you can go to food retailers, gift basket companies use these hot sauces and salsas to put into their gift baskets. Food service, if you're looking for a larger portion or something that's more commercial produced on a much larger scale. It goes on and on and on. As far as the different types of venues who can utilize this product, like I said, the gift basket company, the gift basket industry is gigantic, especially with small packaged food products. And when it comes to hot sauces, salsas, specialty ketchups, these different flavor profiled items, it lends itself to being something that's very simple to add to your product lineup. And if you're looking to start a business from scratch and you don't know of any product ideas, take a look at some of the statistics and the data on these things. It's crazy. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And these private label companies make it so easy for you to get into this segment of the food business, and you don't have to invest $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. One of the companies, to be honest with you, I actually went to his website. The gentleman that runs it, super nice guy. You can get into private labeled hot sauces per unit. I think it was less than $2 with a retail of about $5.99, $6.99 or so. It's a specialty hot sauce, and it actually has like 8 or 10 different flavor profiles already done. You could simply say, hey, you know what? Joe's Hot Sauce, can you put my name on it? joeshotsauce.com is my company. I don't have a recipe. I'd be happy to just utilize what you've got available. You buy a case pack. I think it's like 48 bottles in a case pack. You spend a couple $100, and you can turn around and multiply that, and you're going to make a few hundred dollars off of the cases alone. And you can see how quick it's easy to turn these products over. So back to what I was saying before, when it comes to Amazon and why private labeling these types of products and shipping into them is for several reasons. Number one, the first thing is it's very small, very lightweight. So it doesn't cost a lot to ship, and it also doesn't cost a lot as far as the Amazon fees. And there's a lot of great ways you can bundle these products. So let's say you had 6 different flavor profiles for these hot sauces, or maybe even a salsa, or even a ketchup. It doesn't even matter. You had a variety of flavors. You can create these bundle packages where you're increasing your price point per sale. Your fees go up slightly, yes, but your margin on your profit on each individual product is going to go way, way up. This is it's a lot easier to go through this process than it would be if you tried to get into retail stores. You got to get it to a food distributor, possibly a food broker. Then they got to pitch the product. Then you got to wait for someone to buy it. The level of entry, the difficulty of entry to get into something like this is very, very small when you're doing it online. And if you can get a company to make it for you, it's even better yet, because you're not having to tie yourself up. If you're working a full-time job, or if you're working a job and you're trying to start a food business, you don't have to tie yourself up with measuring recipes, making sure that it's bottled properly. All of these other factors that come into play, you can simply have a company do it for you, ship it either out to an Amazon FBA, or you can utilize it and basically ship it to your customers via online through your business. But you're not being tied up in the kitchen, per se, having to do all of this. Now, like I mentioned before, it's not just hot sauces. Ketchups and salsas. Salsas are gigantic. The number 3, by the way, on the list, it was below ketchup. The number 3 one was Tostitos salsas. They pull in about $250 to $250 million a year in sales, $250 million in just the U.S. alone, just salsa. And like I mentioned before, that co-packer list that I have available, it's got companies on there that also do that type of food product. So it's not just about hot sauces or ketchups or mayonnaise. It could be salsas. It could be different types of soy sauces and a variety of other things that these companies can make for you. So I thought I wanted to do a really quick podcast and bring this to you guys' attention because this is another great product to add to a product lineup if you're looking to expand or if you want to get in on something and just get your feet wet and try this out. If you're investing in it, it's not a lot of money to do this. And one of the other aspects that's driving the sales of condiment sales up so much in the U.S. is that there's a lot of companies now that are creating sauces that are gluten-free. They're appealing to that demographic, and the bulk of these are actually millennials who are either gluten intolerant or finding out that their kids or their children happen to be gluten intolerant. So there's a lot of companies who are creating their same products that they have had for years in a gluten-free form. And a lot of these salsas and condiments and such, they're finding ways to also make those in a gluten-free way as well. Many of them naturally are because it just doesn't have the gluten in it. But many of these companies are manufacturing that. So that's another niche, another segment of the food consumer that can be appealed to with these types of sauces. And again, you're not having to make them. Getting a co-packer or a private label company to do it for you is a genius idea. And with such a vast variety of them, once you've been online, you started selling these through Amazon, or once you've been getting into local markets, then rolling them out into a larger, like a national chain of grocery stores or a Whole Foods or something to that effect, it becomes an easier proposition. So once you've done it on a small scale, then moving it in and having a co-packer, again, kick it up a notch and filling larger and larger orders, you can grow with a co-packer or private label on these types of products much easier than many other food types of products. So the last thing I want to touch on is that aside from the gluten-free, many of the companies are also offering the non-GMO, organic, or even artisanal products where they're getting these small batches, really unique flavor profiles, putting them together in what traditionally would be the ketchups and mayonnaise and mustards of the world, but coming out with flavors that are just super ultra unique, which are catching the eyes of a lot of millennials. And organic, it's a lot cleaner ingredients, putting together a product that's cleaner not only for the parents but for their children. And that's what a lot of these millennial parents are looking for, and that's what's driving this specific segment of the food business. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys taking a moment to hear this great idea. I'm actually super excited about trying this myself. I've looked into and contacted several private label companies. And I'll actually status with you guys and update you as the process goes along. Once I'm up and running and I've got one of these products done for myself, I'll tell you that experience and I can give you some more contact info on those companies as well. So if you actually have ever experienced this, or if you're a manufacturer of these types of products, if you want to let us know down below in the description how easy it was, or what were the challenges for doing something like a condiment product, a food product such as this, let us know. I know there's a lot of subscribers here on Marketing Food Channel, who could appreciate any additional comments about this type of subject. So with that being said, I'll wrap it up and I'll talk to you guys on the next podcast, or I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And again, if you need any consultation or consulting work or need some 2 cents from me on a one-on-one basis, we have a lot of consulting stuff available. Different packages for different price points, whatever your budget may be, to help you get your food product to market or start your food business, get it up and running. Do take care.